If you're just pulling into the bay, welcome to the chaos. If you've been wrenching with us, you already know that faint smell of smoke and desperation means the tape just tore itself in half. I'm Avatar John, the driver of this chaos, the market mechanic your favorite influencer wishes he understood, the guy who doesn't react to explosions, I downshift into them. And tonight, everybody's asking the same thing. Bro, what the fuck happened again? Is the bull run over? Because the headlines came in swinging. Bitcoin collapsed under 100K. Polymarket is testing US prediction markets. Oil finally stabilized after getting kicked down the stairs. OpenAI dropped GPT 5.1. Smarter, colder, faster. The whole world's acting like the sky fell. But here's the twist. I know what you really want. You want the money plays. You want the trench maps. You want that dirty Solana intel the suits pretend they don't watch. But let me be the first to tell you, even the trenches caught a kick in the balls today. The zombies didn't crawl out. The losers weren't old enough to trust. Charts were broken. Plays were landmines. So we sent XXX back under the neon anyway. Bird eye glowing, deck screener humming, casino lights burning holes in the night. And he scraped through the ruins to find what survived, what died, and what's still twitching. Smash that like. Send this to the buddy who thinks he's early, but always arrives after the pump. Because tonight we're not reading charts. We're ripping open the engine of the entire market. Neon's bleeding, smoke's thick. And I'm in the driver's seat. Engine's hot. Safety off. Let it rip. Let me break this down like a man who's been punched in the face enough times to know when the hit hurts and when it changes the fight. This morning, one Fed official walked up to the microphone, cleared his throat, and said the magic words. Rate cuts are not guaranteed. That's it. 6 words. 6 words that hit Wall Street harder than any CPI print, harder than any earnings miss. That was the spark of doubt. The exact moment the oxygen got sucked out of the room because TradFi wasn't ready for that. TradFi's been partying. Record highs. AI melt up. Traders in Patagonia vests telling themselves, cuts coming, liquidity's coming, Daddy Powell's gonna save us. And suddenly, a Fed guy says, actually, nah. Boom. Everything wobbles. This is the part people don't understand. Markets don't die from bad news. They die from doubt. Bad news you can price. Doubt is the bullet you never see coming. That hawkish spark hit the tape like a wrench dropped into a running engine. Metal on metal. Sparks everywhere. Nothing but grind. And the question on every pro's mind, did the CTAs hit? Let me translate that for the civilians. A CTA, commodity trading advisor, is not a person. It's an algorithmic freight train. It doesn't think. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't flinch. It buys when price momentum says up, and it dumps the entire trunk when momentum says down. Did those models flip today? Here's the truth. We saw the symptoms. When CTAs hit, you get straight line selling, no bounces, no hesitation, correlated flush across risk buckets, volume spikes without panic headlines, sector moves that make no emotional sense. That's exactly what we saw in tech today. The AI darlings didn't trade down. They got dragged behind a truck. NASDAQ didn't bleed. It dunked in a straight diagonal, the CTA signature. Why? Because CTAs don't care about GDP. They don't care about CPI. They don't care about OpenAI or geopolitics or your feelings. They saw momentum shift, trend break, position overweight, vol spike, Fed hawkish, and they said, dump it all. That's why today felt off. Not emotional, not dramatic, not chaotic, clinical, robotic, surgical, like someone hit the purge button on the whole tech sector. This moves us into a different phase of the market, the prove it phase. Until this morning, the market believed in the soft landing fairy tale, in rate cuts, in liquidity, in the great everything rally. One hawkish sentence broke the spell. Now everyone's awake and they're asking ugly questions. Was this the top? Is the bull run over? Are CTAs still long? Do they flip next week? Is the floor real or just paint? That's why today mattered. It wasn't the sell-off. It was the spark of doubt, the split second where confidence turned into hesitation and hesitation turned into a straight line unwind. If CPI comes in hot, CTAs will kick the door down again. If CPI cools off, they reload long fast enough to give the market whiplash. But until that print hits, every trader, every bot, every whale is sitting with their hand near the eject button. This is what happens when the market expects pleasure and gets discipline. Welcome to liquidity scarcity. Welcome to CTA season. Welcome to the part of the cycle where the real traders eat and the tourists get vaporized. The smoke from that CTA hit was still drifting through the air when the headlines started detonating one after another. Boom, boom, boom. Each one hitting harder than the last. And every one of them telling a different version of the same story. The market is shaking, and only the garage is reading the real signals. First headline, Bitcoin collapses under 100K. Every outlet screams bear market, meltdown, crisis, end of the run. They show you the candle. They never show you the plumbing. They don't mention the dormant whale dropping 12,000 BTC onto the books, or the miners unloading tens of thousands more, or the leveraged longs blowing up like overloaded engines. They don't show you the liquidation map, the thin books, the ETFs flipping red and green like a broken traffic light. They report fear because it's easy. We interpret the system because it's necessary. Bitcoin didn't die. It tested the weak. Then out of nowhere, Polymarket slides back into the United States like a ghost through a locked door, and the media calls it a beta test. That's not a beta. That's the return of truth markets, the place where you can bet on anything that moves, breathes, or scares the hell out of the elites. Elections, inflation, rate cuts, ETF approvals, hurricanes, crypto levels, Solana versus ETH, celebrity nonsense. If it has uncertainty, Polymarket prices it faster than any analyst or pollster alive. Prediction markets are the financial version of a lie detector, and that's why regulators hate them. You can't manipulate a market built on money and conviction. For the first time in years, Americans can bet on reality again. That changes everything. Next headline: oil stabilizes. After days of getting slapped around, crude finally catches its breath. Not because the world is calm, but because cash flow never lies. Energy stocks held stronger than half the Nasdaq today, even with OPEC flipping their surplus script. Why? Because money always rotates back to what actually pays. When liquidity dries up, narratives starve, but barrels eat. It's that simple. Then comes the tech shockwave. OpenAI drops GPT 5.1 in the middle of the chaos. Instant mode, thinking mode, longer memory, sharper reasoning, cleaner tone. It's not a software update, it's a neural warhead. While markets panic, AI evolves without asking permission. That's what matters. The hype in stocks might have cracked today, but the innovation engine just bolted on a new turbo and kept going. That's why we don't fear dips. The future doesn't move backwards. And finally, the one that lit the fuse this morning. One Fed official steps up and casually drops. Rate cuts are not guaranteed. That one sentence, 6 little words, punched the entire Nasdaq in the throat. Doubt is more dangerous than bad news. Doubt triggers the CTAs. Doubt forces the quants to dump inventory. Doubt turns a rotation into a reset. That comment cracked the confidence of the whole market, and everything after was a chain reaction. Long tech unwinding, liquidity thinning, leverage snapping, panic headlines amplifying the mess. Every one of these stories looks separate if you read them like civilians, but in the garage, they merge into one truth. This isn't the death of a bull run. This is the market reorganizing itself under pressure. Crypto got tested, tech got repriced, energy flexed, AI advanced, prediction markets woke up, and the Fed reminded everyone who really controls the oxygen. It's loud, it's messy, it's violent, but it's not the end, it's the map. While crypto was getting thrown down a flight of stairs and TradFi was clutching its pearls, the machines didn't flinch. They didn't slow down. They didn't ask permission. They just evolved. And that's the part nobody understands yet. Not the pundits, not the regulators, not even half the CEOs pretending they totally get AI. They don't get it because this isn't a trend. This isn't an industry. This isn't a sector rotation. This is the single largest intelligence expansion in human history happening live while everyone else is too busy staring at candles. OpenAI didn't just release GPT 5.1 today. They dropped a new operating system for the human mind. Instant mode for raw speed, the street racer, thinking mode for deep reasoning, the monk assassin, longer memory, cleaner logic, tighter tone control. This wasn't an upgrade. This was an intelligence multiplier injected directly into society's bloodstream. They made a model that can think longer than you, remember better than you, solve faster than you, and do it all without needing a coffee break or a therapy session. And the craziest part, this version isn't even the final form. It's the warm-up. It's the stretching routine before the real show. Google wasn't sleeping either. They rolled out private AI compute, a hybrid bunker where Gemini runs in your phone like a secret weapon. Not cloud-bound, not exposed, not leaking your life into a data center. This is on-device intelligence, encrypted, isolated, secure, a supercomputer in your pocket, whispering answers before you even think of the question. The same people terrified of AI spying now have military-grade privacy wrapped around a personal bot that can analyze, organize, rewrite, negotiate, and filter your entire world in real time. This is not convenience. This is augmentation. The phone just became the co-pilot. LinkedIn flipped the switch too. Professional search isn't search anymore. It's spellcasting. You want a CFO who took a SaaS company public in Europe and hates churn? Type it like a sentence. The AI reads your intent, combs billions of relational data points, interprets your goal, and surfaces humans like items in a storefront. Recruiting just went from phishing to laser-targeted acquisition. Whole industries, HR, staffing, consulting, have no idea they're already obsolete. They're smile-waving on the Titanic. Then the survey hit. 88% of companies already use AI in at least one core function. Let me translate that for the crowd still pretending they have time to adapt later. AI is not coming. It is here, deployed, operational, embedded into workflows, and rewriting every cost structure in existence. If you're not using it, someone else is. If you're not learning it, someone else is. And if you think your job is safe, you haven't been paying attention. Machines don't get tired. Machines don't get distracted. Machines don't have pride, envy, or fear. They just improve. This is the part Tate talks about, and he's right. Most people aren't afraid of AI. They're afraid of being exposed. Because AI doesn't eliminate jobs, it eliminates excuses. It strips out the lazy, the slow, the complacent. It widens the gap between the man adapting and the man pretending the world will wait for him. AI doesn't care about your self-esteem. It cares about output. It doesn't negotiate with your comfort zone. It crushes it. There is no union strong enough to stop intelligence from scaling. There is no protest big enough to stop automation from running at 1,000 miles an hour. OpenAI is sliding into healthcare. That alone should tell you everything. The most bloated, inefficient, overpriced industry in America just got an AI scalpel pressed to its throat. Diagnostics, scheduling, monitoring, analysis, treatment plans, insurance disputes, billing, all of it ripe for replacement. The world's largest industries are being cracked open from the inside, and most people are still worrying about whether their favorite influencer is bullish or bearish. Meanwhile, Time magazine turned its entire archive into a searchable AI memory palace. Think about that. 100 years of human knowledge, indexed, digested, cross-referenced, and instantly explorable by anyone with a browser. AI didn't just learn history, it absorbed it. That's not a tool, that's a civilization upgrade. And then there's the shadow truth nobody wants to speak. The job apocalypse isn't coming, it's already here. DeepSeek in China straight up warned the world. AI will replace vast swaths of human labor. Not may, not someday, will. That's not fear-mongering, that's mathematics. When intelligence gets cheaper and faster every quarter, the cost of ignorance becomes fatal. 1 billion workers are now competing with a machine that never sleeps and never forgets. The world's about to learn what exponential really means. This is why the garage doesn't panic when charts bleed, because markets running cycles, but intelligence only runs forward. The real bull market isn't Bitcoin or Solana or Nvidia. The real bull market is capability, the erosion of friction, the explosion of output, the collapse of old world inefficiency. AI is not a trend. It is the next species, and you're either evolving with it or you're waiting to be replaced by the man who does. Engine's hot. Safety off. Let's finish this. And while the world was losing its mind over AI upgrades and Fed mind games, you already know where the degenerates were staring. The trenches. Because no matter how high Bitcoin flies or how hard Wall Street bleeds, there's always one voice in the crowd saying, yeah, but what's cooking on Solana? So we set XXX back into the neon underworld. Vegas lights bouncing off the pavement, bird eye glowing on the screen, deck screener tabs stacked like shotgun shells. He's not in an office. He's not in a studio. He's sitting at a blackjack table with a laptop and a look on his face that says he's about to either get rich or get kicked out. Dials in the trench filters, LP over 100K, volume over 75K, age over 21 days, 3,000 plus holders, clean contract, no mint freeze landmines. That's the law. That's moolah. And the page loads. Nothing. Not a single clean zombie. Not one true rebirth. The whole top losers list tonight, newborns, fresh meat, toddlers running around with knives, Cat down 70%, Elizabeth down 90%, or blown out. All of them too young to trust, too risky to revive. Every chart is a heart monitor flatlining, and every age check says rug risk, extreme. Even the safe hunter himself pauses. Trench is cold, he mutters. That's how bad today hit. So he shifts strategy. He stops looking at tokens and starts looking at people, whales, the ones with real money, real instincts, real P&L. Top Solana wallets, millions in volume, cracked out win rates. Wallet number 1, a scalper. High frequency machine, buys chud, blub, GXY, flips within minutes. Win rate in the 70s. zero conviction, just blades spinning. Wallet number 3, even worse or better, depending on your risk tolerance, an elite speed freak with an 87% win rate who holds tokens for 30 seconds, maybe 2 minutes max. The kind of trader that makes normal humans feel like they're watching a hummingbird do calculus. Clean wallet, razor focus, no holds, zero swing behavior, no accumulation, pure reaction, pure lightning. But then there's wallet number 2, a different beast entirely, not a scalper, a strategist, 2-day average hold, massive volume, willing to sit through pain when he believes in a play. And in the middle of the carnage, while every casual trader was panic selling and every influencer was tweeting skull emojis, this whale did something no bot would do. He started buying. Not once, not twice. 5 separate buys. 5 clips. USDC into USCR. SOL into USCR. Back to USCR again and again and again. No instant flip. No dump. He just sat on it, holding through the blood like a psycho with conviction. And that right there is the tell. Because in a market this ugly, when even the zombies stay buried, any accumulation, real accumulation, means something. Now let's be perfectly clear. This isn't financial advice. This isn't a call. This isn't a rally cry. This is observation, the purest form of trench intel. Tonight, the classic plays weren't there. The losers were too fresh. The zombies were too weak. But the only real signal, the only real movement from a real wallet was accumulation in USCR, the one token in the trench that got bought instead of buried. Everything else, gutters, scalps, bots, noise. This is the part of the show the suits pretend they don't watch, but secretly pause and take notes. This is the part retail leans forward for. This is the part where the garage stops telling stories and starts telling truth. The trench wasn't generous tonight, but it wasn't silent. It whispered, barely, just enough, and XXX heard it. Now all that's left is to see whether that whisper becomes a signal or gets drowned out by whatever the hell Asia's about to do next. And right as we were about to land this whole thing, right as the garage was ready to take a breath after the macro slap, the tech flush, the crypto stumble, the AI mutation, and the trench chaos, Asia logged in. And not gently, not politely, they didn't knock. They kicked the door open and said, move. Bitcoin flushed in a straight line. ETH snapped. Sol cratered. ADA dipped. Everything printed a lower low at the exact same second. That wasn't emotion. That was time zone warfare. Asia hits midday around 1 p.m. their time, 8:50 p.m. here in California, and their bots wake up like they've been waiting all day to ruin someone's sleep schedule. US books are thin, Europe's down for the count, liquidity is soft, and that is the perfect time for Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, and Singapore to fire up the machines and test every level New York pretended was safe. But here's the part that made me laugh out loud, and you're not going to hear this anywhere else. When that last dump hit, Lulu, our head of TA, our queen of the charts, our unbothered pig genius, was literally waddling in with her nightly report. She took one look at that liquidation wick, squealed like someone turned off the snack machine, and ate the chart. Just straight up chomped the trend line, stomped the candles, and looked me dead in the eyes like, not today, guru. Not today. And honestly, I respect it. I respect a pig who knows her limits. When even Lulu says nope, you don't force the issue. You step back, wipe the grease off your hands, and look at the facts. And the facts are simple. BTC isn't dead. It's cleansing leverage. Tech isn't over. It's repricing fantasy back into math. AI isn't slowing down. It's accelerating faster than the market can breathe. Prediction markets aren't small. They're about to rewrite truth itself. Energy didn't move because cash flow doesn't beg for permission. The Fed isn't pivoting. They're tightening the bolts until the frame rattles. The trenches didn't give much tonight, but the smart money footprints were still there if you knew where to look. And Asia came online and finished what New York started. This wasn't the end of anything. This was the reset. This was the mandatory pit stop. The market overheated, blew a hose, burned some belts, and needed to cool off. Now we know which parts of the engine matter and which parts were just chrome. The road ahead, it's not smooth. It's not calm. It's not gentle. But we're not here for a peaceful drive. We're here for the race. And tonight was just another lap in a bull market that forgot it was mortal. Smash that like, drop a comment, share it with your buddy who always buys tops, and then texts you, bro WTF. And I'll see you tomorrow in the garage, where the smoke is real, the truth is loud, and the engines never sleep. Engines hot.